He walked into the lobby with his daughter asleep on his back, dust on his boots and tired eyes. Just a man, looking for one room to rest his little girl's head. He didn't ask for a suite. He didn't ask for luxury. He just asked for a bed. But the woman at the front desk looked him up and down and smiled the kind of smile that wasn't really a smile at all.
Kelvin Brooks was the kind of man people whispered about at galas he never attended. 38 years old, owner of 13 hotels scattered across the country, and yet you'd never catch him in a tailored suit unless a contract demanded it. Most days, he wore an old brown jacket that had seen better winters, jeans with a little wear at the knee, and boots that had walked through every single property he'd built from nothing. He didn't do it for show. He did it because somewhere along the way, wealth had stopped being the point. The real point was 6 years old, had two puffy afros he learned to braid by watching YouTube tutorials at 2 a.m., and was currently asleep on his back in a hiking carrier, her cheek pressed against his shoulder. Her name was Amara. And she was his whole world. Kelvin had raised her alone since she was 8 months old. Her mother wasn't in the picture, hadn't been for years, and Kelvin never once let that become Amara's burden to carry. Every morning, no matter how many emails were waiting, no matter how many properties needed his signature, he did her hair first. He made her oatmeal with extra cinnamon because that's how she liked it. He walked her to school himself, even when 3 separate companies were begging for his time. "Daddy," she'd say some mornings, tugging at his sleeve, "you're rich. Why do you do my hair yourself?" And he'd kiss her forehead and say, "Because some things money can't buy, baby girl. Only love can do that." That love was why they were here now, in a town 3 states from home, on a father-daughter trip he'd promised her for months. No assistants. No security detail. No corporate jet paperwork. Just Kelvin, Amara, and a rental car that had broken down 40 minutes outside the city limits. By the time they reached downtown, the sun had gone down, Amara was fast asleep on his back, and Kelvin was exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with money and everything to do with being human. That's when he saw. Rising above the skyline, glowing gold against the night sky, was a sign he knew better than his own reflection. The Meridian Grand. His hotel. One of 13. A property he hadn't personally visited in over 2 years, because that's what regional managers were for, that's what inspection teams were for. He trusted his people. Tonight, though, he wasn't Kelvin Brooks, hotel mogul. Tonight he was just a tired father who needed a bed for his little girl. He walked through the golden doors, weary, road dusty, his daughter's soft breathing against his neck the only thing keeping him steady. The lobby was breathtaking, marble floors, gold chandeliers dripping light like liquid honey, the scent of white tea in the air. Kelvin had approved this design himself, years ago, from a folder of blueprints in his office. Seeing it in person, fully alive, still gave him a small flicker of pride. But pride wasn't what he needed right now. He needed a room. He approached the front desk where a young woman stood, sharp in her black blazer, her expression already unreadable in a way that made Kelvin's stomach tighten just slightly. "Good evening," he said, adjusting Amara's weight gently on his back. "I know it's late notice, but I need a room. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just somewhere my daughter can sleep." The woman's eyes moved over him slowly, the worn jacket, the scuffed boots, the backpack straps digging into his shoulders, the child slumped against him. Her lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. "I'm sorry, sir," she said, voice syrup sweet and ice-cold underneath. "This is a 5-star property. We don't have anything available for your situation." Kelvin blinked. "My situation? Rooms here start well above what I imagine you're prepared to pay," she continued, glancing toward the elegant seating area as if worried he might sit down uninvited. "There's a motel about 15 minutes from here. Might be more suitable." Amara stirred slightly on his back, murmuring in her sleep. Kelvin's jaw tightened, not out of anger yet, out of disbelief. "I haven't even asked about pricing," he said quietly. "I just need a room. I have a card. I have ID. My daughter is exhausted." The woman's coworker, a young man polishing a nearby countertop, glanced over but said nothing, clearly uncomfortable but unwilling to intervene. "Sir, I really need you to lower your voice," the woman said, though Kelvin hadn't raised it at all. "You're making other guests uncomfortable." Kelvin looked around. The lobby was nearly empty. Something cold settled his chest. Not for himself, he could handle being disrespected. He'd handled worse in boardrooms full of men who doubted a black man could build an empire from a single motel loan. But Amara was on his back, tired, innocent, and this woman was talking about his hotel like he didn't belong inside it. "I'd like to speak to your manager," Kelvin said calmly. The woman's smile sharpened. "The manager isn't in tonight. And frankly, sir, I don't think a room here is within your reach. There are shelters not far from." "That's enough," Kelvin said, quiet but firm. He reached into his jacket, pulled out his phone, and dialed a number he hadn't used in months. The phone rang twice before a familiar voice answered. "Marcus. It's Kelvin." The front desk employee, her name tag read Danielle, rolled her eyes subtly, assuming this was some desperate bluff. A man in a worn jacket, claiming to know someone important. She'd seen this trick before. "Kelvin?" Marcus's voice came through, startled. "Boss, it's been forever. Everything all right? I need you to pull up ownership records for the Meridian Grand downtown," Kelvin said, his tone even, almost gentle, which somehow made it more unsettling. "And get the regional manager for this district on the phone. Now." Danielle's smirk faltered, just slightly. "You mean, you're Meridian Grand?" Marcus asked. "That's the one." There was a pause, then the click-clack of Marcus typing rapidly. "Sir, I have it up. Says here the general manager on duty tonight is Danielle Reeves." Kelvin looked up, meeting the woman's eyes directly for the first time since the conversation started. Her face changed in an instant, the arrogance draining out like water from a cracked glass. "Sir, she started. "I own this hotel," Kelvin said simply, not with pride, not with anger, just fact. "I own 12 others just like it. I built this company from a single roadside motel when I was 23 years old, sleeping in my car some nights so I could save enough for the next property. And tonight, exhausted, carrying my sleeping daughter after a 15-hour drive, I asked you for a room in my own hotel, and you told me to go to a shelter." The color left Danielle's face completely. "I didn't know," she whispered. "I'm so sorry, I didn't." "You didn't need to know who I was to treat me with basic decency," Kelvin said, his voice cracking just slightly with the exhaustion of the day, of years of being underestimated. "That's the problem, Danielle. You looked at a tired black man with his daughter on his back and decided we didn't belong. That's not about hotel policy. That's about you." Marcus's voice. Amara stirred against Kelvin's back, lifting her sleepy head. "Daddy? Are we home?" "Not yet, baby girl," Kelvin said softly, his voice instantly gentle again, the hardness melting away the moment his daughter's voice reached him. "Almost there." He turned to walk toward the elevator, already dialing his assistant to arrange the presidential suite, not because he needed luxury, but because his daughter deserved comfort after the day they'd had. Behind him, Danielle stood frozen, tears welling in her eyes, the weight of the moment crashing over her. She hadn't just lost a job. She'd revealed, in one careless interaction, exactly who she was when she thought no one important was watching. But Kelvin didn't look back in anger. He looked back with something closer to sadness. "For what it's worth," he said, pausing at the elevator, "I built these hotels so people who'd been judged and dismissed their whole lives would finally have a place that treated them like they mattered. I guess I forgot to make sure my own staff understood that. The elevator doors closed. 3 weeks later, Danielle received an unexpected letter. Not a lawsuit. Not a final warning. An invitation to a leadership training program Kelvin funded personally for employees across all 13 hotels, focused entirely on empathy, unconscious bias, and understanding the real stories behind every guest who walked through the door. At the bottom, a handwritten note. Everyone deserves a second chance to see people clearly. I hope you take this one. KB. Danielle sat with the letter for a long time, tears falling freely. She had judged a stranger in seconds. He had given her, in return, the very thing she never offered him, grace. 6 months later, she became one of the top-rated managers in the entire Meridian Grand Company, trained not just to run a hotel, but to see the human being standing in front of her, no matter how they were dressed, no matter what story she assumed before they'd even spoken a word. And every single morning, thousands of miles away, Kelvin Brooks still woke up before sunrise, braided his daughter's hair with careful hands, made her oatmeal with extra cinnamon, and walked her to school himself, a billionaire by every measure except the one that mattered most to him. The end.